Nellie, your mother wants you.
If you're near Walnut Grove, you better not make enemies with nasty Nellie Oleson, played wonderfully by the fiery Oleson Arngrim. She kinda became the first face of the mean girl archetype, which also gave her plenty of room for a big personality transformation. But then she was gone. So why did Oleson, and by extension Nellie, disappear from the Prairie when things got interesting? How much did her TV rivalry with Laura Ingalls spill into real life? And was everybody's pa, Michael Landon, also a father figure even to nasty Nellie? Welcome, I am your host, Nostalgic Nick, and we're returning to Walnut Grove so you can enjoy this trip down memory lane. If you enjoy our deep dive, give this video a thumbs up, it really helps. And subscribe to our channel so you never miss a memory. But without further ado, where's Nellie? Was there a real Nellie Oleson? Little House on the Prairie changed the landscape of television and delved into some very mature, glossed-over themes. You might not have caught them all, like addiction, poverty, faith, prejudice, and even assault. It tackled real topics and had very real roots. And of course, some of you have read the books that started it all. The Little House series by the real Laura Ingalls Wilder. The books beautifully paved the way for this 9-season television titan, but it wasn't a one-to-one adaptation. Michael Landon compared the novels to cookbooks, so a lot of drama had to be added. Nellie Oleson appeared in 3 Little House books, but it was enough to give the show's writers something to work with. And while plenty of characters existed in real life, Nellie was not one of them. Instead, she's more of a mashup of 3 different people in Laura's life. Nellie Owens, Estella Gilbert, and Genevieve Masters. Nellie Owens made such a negative impression on Ingalls Wilder that she didn't dare use the same name in her books. Yup, that's some deep-seated fear from childhood. Did Oleson Arngrim wear a wig on Little House?
I won't take it back because it's true.
What's it like to be one of the most hated characters in fiction? Was it a role with a reception Oleson thought was worth keeping? Well, it came with quite a few ups and downs. First, the costuming. The head of curly golden locks was indeed a wig. As Oleson puts it, quote, "There was no point at which it felt comfortable. The stylist had to pin parts of the curly wigs to her head, but, warning if you just ate, they would pin them so tight that Allison's scalp would bleed on multiple occasions. Ouch. Then there's the top layers of clothing that all the women had to wear, making for a very uncomfortable experience. Which maybe made her job easy, I guess. Early on in the audition process, Oleson knew this girl was a piece of work. In fact, when she was asked to read for Nellie, she told her dad, quote, "This is not a normal part. This girl is, well, she's the B word." Her father told her to just read the material with that in mind, and looking back, Oleson thinks it says something about her that she did so well to earn the part. That playing Nellie confirmed her suspicions, and she described it as, quote, "like having PMS for 7 years." She did her job so well, but any actor who plays a baddie inevitably gets a lot of haters, and boy did she get haters. In fact, one viewer despised Nellie so much, they physically confronted Oleson when she was only 16. While at the Hollywood Christmas parade. That's not in the spirit. Suddenly an onlooker rushed forward and threw a cup of orange soda right at her head. Wow, playing nasty Nellie really could be a thankless job. Are Melissa Gilbert and Oleson Arngrim still friends?
Laura smells like a dirty horse. Laura smells...
Tom and Jerry, Al Bundy and Neighbor Marcy. Half Pint and Nasty Nellie. TV is chock full of iconic rivalries, and Oleson and Melissa were primed to be enemies from the start. That's because Oleson actually auditioned for 2 other roles, neither of them Nellie. Her top pick was Laura Ingalls, but series lead and co-creator Michael Landon saw her better suited as the primary antagonist, basically boxing her out of any chance for that leading lady praise the others got. Oleson channeled some of Nellie's spirit on set. Remember when all the younger characters grew into having love interests? Melissa Gilbert and Dean Butler didn't quite have the chemistry showrunners wanted to see and pointed to Oleson and Steve Tracy as a primary example. Gilbert was squeamish around PDA, and armed with this knowledge, Allison made it her mission to make romantic scenes with Steve as gushy, over the top, and all around uncomfortable as possible, just to tease Gilbert. But here's the twist. Allison and Melissa were actually great friends. There was zero animosity between the actors. Not for Gilbert getting the role that Allison wanted, not for competing screen time, nothing. Looking back, Allison said, quote, "It's funny, I think if you play enemies on set, you end up becoming friends. We hit it off right away. We had slumber parties, visit each other's houses on weekends. People couldn't believe it. And as recently as 2021, Melissa went onto social media and called Allison, quote, one of my very dearest friends and very favorite on-screen partners." But wait, there's another twist. If Allison was friends with her on-screen enemy, how close was she with others? And as that turns out, where the real tension came from is where you'd least expect it. America's Pa, Michael Landon. And we also have an entire video dedicated to Landon's short and troubled life if you want to watch that one next. But for now, just know that Allison has called Landon a bundle of contradictions, very capable of being a fun-loving uncle figure and an absolute terror to all around him. Landon drank a lot, even right on set. Allison saw Landon drinking away in the back of a prop truck and saw a staff member pour 4 fingers of wild turkey bourbon into his coffee. She later had the nasty realization that Landon could clear 2 cases of Coors beer per day. Allison did say nobody ever looked tipsy on set, but that Landon could get volatile. One time, Allison broke her arm in a skateboarding accident. She ended up in a cast, and since it interfered with filming, Landon set the ultimatum: no more skating. He also signed the cast in big letters in a place impossible to miss, so she didn't forget while recovering. Allison saw enough of Landon's unsavory side that when Karen Grassley, the mom, released a memoir spilling all the beans about Pa, she backed all the claims. Allison called him, quote, more mad, bad, and dangerous to know. Why did Nasty Nellie leave Little House on the Prairie? For all the challenges playing Nasty Nellie gave Allison, it was pretty great too. She gained a lifelong friend with Melissa Gilbert, and on top of that, Nellie let Allison vent out some of her deep-seated frustrations. You see, as a child, she had been sexually abused. One particular Little House scene had her screaming and raising her fists. Allison looked back and realized, quote, yep, I was very relaxed after that day. Nellie was also full of some pleasant surprises for Allison. She became the subject of a pretty interesting character arc, transforming her bratty personality into something more mature and likable. And there was the problem. Allison called Nellie bland and boring after she reformed, and the writers couldn't think of anything else to do with the character. That meant Allison too had nothing to do, and in her memoir, she admitted feeling a total lack of excitement. The idea of doing that into her 30s left Allison sick to her stomach. So the paycheck had to be big enough, or so she hoped, but NBC did not budge. The network refused every bit of negotiation. Their terms, 4 years, same pay and conditions, take it or leave it. Losing a job is shattering enough, but for Allison, the blow stung especially hard because she was very loyal to the show. Her agent and dad were outraged on her behalf, but the final choice was hers. Allison Arngrim walked away from Little House. There was no grand goodbye, leaving Allison feeling a bit unfulfilled, but leave it to Melissa Gilbert to make her feel special. Allison reached out to her, and Gilbert already knew. She was a rock and got her an unusual gift. Gilbert gave Allison a necklace with a crying baby charm, saying that it reminded her of Allison, and the gift was wrapped in a jobs listing from the local paper. Gilbert added, quote, you probably will need these now. Touché, half pint. What does Allison Arngrim do now? Even though Allison was the face of a bratty mean girl, she had no trouble landing future work. Her Little House heritage is one she can celebrate, despite the rough ending. And you have to read her memoir called Confessions of a Prairie. Great title, Allison, but it's the nostalgic crossover of the century in the web series, Life Interrupted. There you can see Allison playing the life partner of another Do You Remember favorite, little Erin Murphy from Bewitched. The two actors had a blast working together, and it's given Allison's husband plenty of material to tease her with, jokingly bonding with Erin over having both married Allison. But Nellie's biggest joy is her advocacy work. In between jobs, Oleson really felt the depression from her childhood abuse. After a lot of therapy, she dedicated herself to helping others. She has served as president of the National Association to Protect Children. She had a lot of influence, speaking to the California State Senate, campaigning in multiple states, and influencing federal legislation. When her on-screen partner, Steve Tracy, came forward with his HIV diagnosis, she signed up for the AIDS Project Los Angeles Hotline training program. She read up on all the facts and myths, and used her fame and platform to teach others. Now she can look back and happily say, quote, "I get recognized more now than I did when the show was running. There was a time in my 20s when I would say I didn't want to be recognized as Nellie forever, but Nellie was a lot of fun to play. Indeed, I thought I'd be sick of it, but now it just makes me smile." Now we want to hear from you. What was your favorite Nasty Nellie moment on Little House? Who was your favorite character on the show? And have you seen Oleson Arngrim in a show or movie I forgot? Get in the comments and tell me your thoughts. Has anyone read her memoir? Before you go, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up to help it circulate. And subscribe to the channel so you never miss a memory. But from all of us here at Do You Remember, we want to thank you for watching.
When am I going to get to say my line? Be quiet, Nellie.